Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. It is November in the garden and things are still really beautiful. There's not that many blooms, but there's still a lot of beautiful things to enjoy. It's also a busy time and a productive time. This last week I've gotten a lot done. I cleaned out my potager garden and I planted a new hydrangea. I also pruned my grapes and cleared off my big trellis and made room for the honeysuckle that is there to shine. In the mailbox garden, I transplanted some Siberian iris and some sedum. I'm still working out the kinks in that area. It's been a great week. My shoulder is feeling better, but not quite good enough to be doing my bulbs yet with my drill because it's gonna kind of wrench my shoulder a little bit. So my husband said that he would help me with the bulbs just whenever he gets a chance. He's busy. We've got to find a weekend when we can get that done. So that hasn't gotten done yet, but we still have plenty of time, at least a month, to get that done. But even without planting bulbs, there's plenty to do. As far as clean out in the garden, I do like to clean things out pretty well. And I know that some people are going to say you should leave it for the bugs and the wildlife and stuff. But for me, I am gardening for beauty. That is my number one goal. So if someone told me like you have to leave the stuff over the winter, I would be less motivated to garden because I want things to look beautiful all the time. So it's just kind of going to be based on your priorities. I'm totally doing this as like an art form and for beauty. And so I want to make it look as good as I can throughout late fall and winter and early spring. And so I'm going to clean things out. I do leave some things, like honestly, there's still way more here for bugs and wildlife than in my neighbor's yards because I'm growing so many things and I'm definitely not clearing it all out. And most of my neighbors don't have a lot growing in their yards at all. So I still think I'm doing my part. I need to get some joy in beauty through the winter. And so I am going to clean out things that I think look too messy, but I'm leaving plenty. And so that's kind of my deal with clean out. If anything looks at all pretty to me, then I will leave it. Like I leave all of my hydrangea blooms dried throughout the winter. And I leave a lot of other stuff. It's just kind of a really messy, big, floppy perennials that I like to clean out. So this video is just about all the things I did this last week in the garden. It was a really busy and productive week in the garden. Today I went on another little adventure and I bought this plant. I had 3 Annabelles. I think actually one of them is an incredible. But I had a row of 3. I dug up the one that was here and I've replaced it with a Haas halo. I've been wanting one for quite a while, ever since I saw Danielle from North Lawn Flower Farm show hers years ago. I've kind of had my eye out for them. It doesn't look fabulous. I got it for $12. Sometimes that works for me and sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how it does. But yeah, I've looked for it and haven't seen it in like any of the normal stores. So just this week, I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. A wholesale landscaper had it listed for $10 or $15, depending on the size. And I ended up getting that one for $12. Haas halo is an arborescens or a smooth hydrangea. So it grows on new wood. You can kind of treat it like an Annabelle. You can cut it back as far as you want in late winter, early spring. I usually cut my Annabelles back to about 18 to 24 inches, but I've tried everything from cutting them all the way to the ground, to leaving them, to cutting out 1/3 of the branches, and honestly, they always kind of seem to perform about the same. Smooth hydrangeas are native to the eastern U.S. all the way to Missouri and Oklahoma, so not quite to Kansas. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Haas halo is 4 to 7 feet tall and wide. Haas halo is a native seedling selection, and it was chosen for its upright growth and large lace cap flowers. The Annabelle hydrangea that was there, when I dug it up, it broke into 2 pieces, and I put those 2 down here. So this area, just over the years, I just kind of put plants here when I don't have anywhere else to put them. It's kind of a rocky hill here. And so I just put in this Annabelle hydrangea and that one. And the reason I didn't put the Haas halo over here is because this area really, it's hard to reach hoses. We don't come over here that much, so things kind of get neglected. So far I've only been putting the Annabelles over here because I know they're really hardy. The other, unfortunately, thing that does happen every once in a while is the neighbors will weed whack the whole area. They have weed whacked my Annabelle hydrangeas down before. Now, if you look at the fence line, there's no reason that they should be weed whacking my side of the yard, but they just kind of do their side and do all the way up to the rocks. And it might be partly my fault because when I first moved in, I didn't realize, like, I used to like think like this was the edge. I don't know why, because, and like one day, years after I lived here, I was actually thinking like, why don't they ever do anything with those weeds that were growing in these rocks? And then I looked and I was like, well, according to the fence, that's actually my yard. And I started taking care of it. So maybe it's my fault that they've weed whacked these after the fact, because they used to think it was theirs, or I don't know. This is this hornbeam tree here. So that's why there's kind of a gap between those two Annabelles and these two Annabelles. Sorry about this terrible camera work here. Okay, so this little twig here is that hornbeam. So then if that hornbeam grows in, then I'll have two Annabelles there and two Annabelles here. And it could get to be kind of nice over here. It's been 2 weeks, I'd say, since I planted these flowerful hydrangeas here, and they look great. So good news to report on that after the first round of planting clearance. Flowerful hydrangeas didn't go well. I'm relieved that these did much better. These flowerful hydrangeas are also smooth hydrangeas. These are zone 3 through 8, and I've chosen them because I'm hoping they won't get quite as big and won't flop. So they're supposed to be 3 to 4 feet tall, 4 to 5 feet wide. Today the sun is out. It's been rain and gloom for 6 days straight. It's about 50 degrees, so not like super nice, but it's pretty good. I have been wanting to clean some things out in the potager garden. Green beans, tomatoes, this stuff's pretty much done. It's getting cold. We haven't had a freeze yet, but I've just been anxious to get out here and get some stuff done. So I literally have 20 minutes right now. That's my life right now. But I'm gonna get done as much as I can in the next 20 minutes. Still got some good green beans coming. Maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. You might have noticed that I'm definitely still favoring my left shoulder. Here I kind of go to pull it with my left and I'm like, ooh, no, gotta pull it with my right. The good news is it's definitely improving. I have decided I'm not gonna get the MRI for now. I'm just gonna give it some time to heal, and I really think it's gonna be okay. out of time, but look what I found. Some fresh raspberries. I'm gonna eat those and go inside. I'm back. It's been about 5 hours and this time I have 30 minutes. So I'm gonna get some more done. I'm gonna clean this up just because I don't want 5 million tomato plants, and I think it's best to clean up the leaves from that tomato too for disease. Here's my raspberries. I don't know what the deal was this year. Right after, I mean, they looked wonderful right until I harvested, and then I'm not quite sure the new leaves right away started. I don't know if they were sun scorched or what, but they just started looking like mottled like this. My fall crop this year has not been good. It probably didn't help that like those would have been good, but they were covered up by tomatoes, so I didn't see them when it would have been good to eat them. There are a couple in here that I can still eat. Always look inside because every once in a while there's a little bug in there. Those appear to have kind of completely died out. There's kind of a blank spot in the middle here. I do think they don't live forever. So these, if it doesn't freeze, are still coming. And these. I always thought that that you only got fruit off the tips in fall, but I just learned today that you'll actually keep getting fruit until it freezes, and then next year it'll just pick up where it left off. So here it's just the tips, but that it would be longer if it didn't get cold. Time is up for me today, but I hopefully can get back out here tomorrow and clean up my last tomato plant. I did end up getting a tiny bit of cilantro here, and I've been harvesting off of it, so that was from July. So today I got the green beans cleaned out, which I'm so glad I did these boxwoods earlier in the season because now I'm left with something, not just bare. And then cleaned those pots out, which they've been needing that for at least 2 months. And cleaned the tomato out. There were the ornamental peppers. And then I can kind of see I'm left with these raspberries. I really wasn't sure. They just didn't look great, but I actually think they'll be okay next year. I kind of didn't know where we would stand after all was said and done, but I'm noticing that there is some nice looking growth here. So this kind of happened back in July. This is tomato. But there is some nice looking stuff here, and I might get something out of this yet, depending on when the freeze comes. Over here, basically what's coming in the next few days is taking out all those peppers, and still have this tomato to tackle. I'm just gonna leave these begonias until the frost gets them. I did just twine some of these rose branches in here just because they were sticking out. I gotta think about what I want to do about this rose, because I know that they need to have these horizontal pieces to have the roses grow up off of. So I think that the shape of this obelisk isn't the most ideal thing for them. So I got to think about that. But I did learn that I cut my rose back too early in the spring, and then that, when it got cold again, it really made the branches die back. So hopefully this will do better next year. Like this will make fabulous roses, but it's going to be awkward if I leave it there. So I got to think about that. There's got to be a better way for this rose to be growing. But look at that foliage. Pretty darn good. This is the Lady in Red climbing rose. It's a wonderful rose. I absolutely love it. I put it inside of this fence because the rabbits were eating on it pretty bad one year. And my intention was that it would just drape over the fence, so it would have those horizontal pieces. Unfortunately, it always seems to want to grow away from the fence and into my little circle path here. So that's why I've put up this obelisk, and I'm just still looking for the best way to have it trained in this area. But I definitely don't plan on moving it. I love it. It's wonderful. Just got to figure out the right structure for it to grow on. So I'm back out here this morning. I have a little more time today. Yesterday, trying to get anything done in 20 minutes was kind of ridiculous, but I've got a good amount of time to work on this today. I'm gonna get the potager garden hopefully completely cleared out, and then I'll kind of do the outside of the garden. Lots to do today, and I'm just gonna see how far I get. I'm gonna take out the tomato and dahlias over there, and I'm gonna take out these peppers. The rose. I have some herbs left in here. I have parsley, rosemary, cilantro. The rosemary usually doesn't live, but you never know, it could. I just cut these dahlias down. If they come back, great. If they don't, then that's fine too. Well, I decided to experiment with the time lapse, and evidently you need to focus it or something. I don't know why. It was all blurry, but here I am taking out all of my peppers. Here are the last of my tomatoes that I'm gonna let ripen in the house, and I'm gonna pull off the peppers. As I was pulling these pepper plants up, there were quite a few, and I mean, they're mostly green, but they're still good enough. Experimenting with the time lapse here. Hey, I was able to get it to focus this time. Look at this area. Still looking great in November. So the potager garden has been very cleaned out, but as you can see, I couldn't quite stand to get rid of all the annuals. So I did leave the little ornamental peppers and the begonias. My plan for next year is to do begonias all the way around the entire outside circle. So I'll do lettuce all the way around in the spring and then begonias in the summer. I've never done the complete outside circle because I've always had these strawberries here, and my plan is to dig up all those strawberries. I haven't done it yet. I'm probably just going to do it in the spring just to have some ground cover for winter. I'm a little concerned about these boxwoods with all that new growth. I trimmed them back in August. That was probably a bad idea. And then I did stick that trellis there just to have something there over the winter. We had a freeze coming the very next day, so I knew that all of these annuals were just going to be black, and so I had started taking some out. I wasn't really planning on doing this today, but I figure, what the heck? I've been meaning to carry this sedum through this area. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just basically take kind of that back half. It fills in pretty quickly, and bring it through here. I thought I might wait till spring, but it's a nice day and I'm out here, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do it now. This area is kind of a mess. When I first made this area this spring, I just kind of threw a bunch of stuff here, and the Siberian iris and these autumn joy sedum are just competing. So I think I'm gonna, and there's like 3 of these Siberian iris and they're all too close together. I think I'm gonna separate them out a little bit, like move the 3rd one out, get rid of the autumn joy sedum, and then there will just be this kind of grassy area. So I think that's what I'm gonna work on now. I have said that I don't like decorative grasses, and I really don't. But for some reason, the Siberian iris I'm okay with. I guess because I get blooms out of them. This is falling apart. Don't know if I'm gonna save these or not. Sometimes it's just a matter of editing, and I think this area is just gonna look better without these. So in the end, I decided I would be happier if I divided it, because when I had moved it over here, they were pretty big clumps and the middle was dead. So that's kind of why they were growing in awkward directions too. So anyway, I divided them, and I think hopefully the 3 little bunches will look good here next spring. They bloom in May. So check this out. The Clematis foliage was all looking terrible, so I cut it back. All new foliage and a couple of blooms coming. I have no idea if I'll ever see these blooms because it's supposed to get pretty cold this weekend. So I've got about 4 or 5 buds on there. I'm still trying to figure this one out because I've cut it back and it hasn't rebloomed. So then this year I just left it because the seed heads looked pretty cool. And then the foliage got bad later in the year, cut it back, and now it is reblooming. So who knows, but it's got such beautiful blooms. This is the multi-blue Clematis. So just yesterday, in my Master Gardener class, we had a fruit expert tell us that we're supposed to trim 90% of our grapes every year. So I'm gonna do it. We'll see. Hopefully I don't regret it, but you know what? Ultimately, it's really not gonna matter because this is probably gonna be gone before it makes fruit next year anyway when they take down the side yard. Okay, so after I trimmed my grapevine, and then I was talking to my friend who's also in the Master Gardener class, I said, I trimmed my grapes, and she said, oh, I thought we were supposed to do that in late spring or early winter. And I was like, oh, shoot. So I did the right thing, I just did it at the wrong time. And like I said before, it's probably not going to matter anyway with the storm drain project, but just know that you're supposed to do this in late winter, early spring. I couldn't quite stand to cut off as much as they told me to, but you can see that I cut off quite a bit. So I'm editing these pieces, and I'm wanting to keep some horizontal shoots, right? So I kept this one going horizontal, and this, you're supposed to have ones coming down that you leave a couple of leaf nodes. So I left that one. I mean, I left more than you're supposed to, right? I think you're supposed to only have 2 or 4, but I left 2 on that side, and then this one will come off to the left. So I guess technically I'm at around 4, although I did leave that little bit there too. I couldn't quite take off as much as I was supposed to, but like I said, it doesn't really matter all that much because this is probably going to be removed next year when they do the work on my side garden, when they put the storm drain in here. But I thought I might as well go ahead and trim it and see. I'm not 100% sure. They might be tearing up this in June and it may be delayed a year or more. So I really just don't know when that's going to happen. I also learned that the best way to deal with Japanese beetles is with a net. That's what the master gardeners suggest in a garden where they have rows of grapes. So that's what I'm going to try next year too, is a net. And eventually, if it's too much of a pain, I'll just get something else to grow on this arbor. And again, we'll see what happens when it's torn up. If I replace it with another grape or go for something else. These are ready to come out, huh? I keep thinking I'm done for the day and then coming back out and doing more. So I've got quite a bit done here. There was some morning glories here that were coming all the way up, and they were growing back on that clematis. So it's like once I remove the morning glories, I can see, oh, that clematis is doing pretty well. There's another clematis here, also doing pretty well. I need to not let those morning glories grow next year so that these can take off. I planted those last year, both of those clematis, so they're doing pretty well. So started taking the morning glories off there, kind of it bled over onto here, and I've got about a half or a third of this cleared off. I'm going to go ahead and clear the rest off, but it's a little tricky because I'm trying not to damage this honeysuckle. This is the peaches and cream honeysuckle. So it's pretty tricky. I mean, the leaves are different. So here's the morning glory, here's the honeysuckle, but you can see the vines are really twisted together. And then there's also hyacinth bean vine in there too. So my goal is to be able to maintain as much of this honeysuckle as I can. I always have this urge to quit when I'm like 95% done. Like, just get it done. So here's what is left. That honeysuckle. A decent amount of it is left. And that is honeysuckle back there. A tiny little bit of hyacinth bean vine I couldn't get. So I need some accountability partners here. Next spring, early summer, when those little morning glory seeds start popping up, and I say, oh, I think I'll just let 1 or 2 live. You guys are going to say, no, Kate. Remember, you want to see how good that honeysuckle looks on that trellis. So no hyacinth bean vine, no morning glories next year. Next year, we're going to let this peaches and cream honeysuckle shine. And I have my new trellis on the other side of the house for my hyacinth bean vine. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. What do you guys have going on in your garden in November?